Welcome to AHA TV. My name is Melissa Matani and I am joined by Dr. Roxana Mehran as we take a look at the morning of day 3 of scientific sessions. Day 3 already, like where has time gone?
It's unbelievable. Usually on the last day, it's all quiet. Not today.
Not today.
Lots of people here.
So there have been 2 late-breaking science sessions already this morning. That's a lot to pack in. What have been your takeaways?
Well, the first session was on prevention, but on a global level, from local to global. I loved it because we covered Nigeria with a really nice program, a clustered randomized study, the second study, which was also showed evaluation of early statin use with really good implementation, as well as a study of tight control in China in over 11,000 patients for blood pressure. All of it presented on the stage here. The room was great. The energy was fantastic. Then the second session was all about AI. Fascinating how augmented intelligence is what I call it instead of artificial intelligence. It's really augmented intelligence and the use of big data in helping us enhance how we can make earlier diagnosis and improve and enhance how we could take care of our patients with cardiovascular disease. So the one that I loved was this program where they used an AI ECG. So it was a stethoscope that had artificial intelligence enabled EKG in pregnant women or peripartum women in Nigeria, and they were 4 times better able to diagnose peripartum, postpartum cardiomyopathy. Now remember, maternal death is increasing, is on the rise across the globe. Most of it from cardiovascular issues, such as cardiomyopathy around peripartum cardiomyopathy. And so we really just seeing that in Nigeria, able to 4 times more be able to diagnose this earlier than later. There was another fantastic study, which was about evaluation of your speech. If you have heart failure, class 2-3 heart failure, whether or not the pattern of your speech can detect early heart failure before it happens.
Wow.
That was just incredible. And I think that there's huge promise. There's still work to be done there because their positive predictive value there were some false positives and stuff, but I believe that this is the way that we're going to, especially with the use of the ability to be able to get telehealth and be able to get voice changes as a measure of patients going into heart failure. Very, very interesting.
It's really fascinating. I mean, there really has been just such a breadth of science that has been presented at this conference for everything that you mentioned, and to think about how it's really going to transform the way that doctors operate. There's just been so much science. I feel like I've learned so much.
Oh, there's no question about it. I feel that as if you feel like you know a lot, and then you get here and then you learn more, and then you leave and you think, this is going to change my practice. The late-breaking trials here were just fantastic. The science is the heart of AHA, and it's no pun intended, but it truly is the home for science. And we saw some great science here at the American Heart Association. And it was just I believe it's central to what we do. It helps us guide our practice. And a lot of what we saw today and these last couple of days definitely will change not today's practice, but what's coming down the pike.
But even this morning's session, when we talk about local to global, I think it was so important because, again, here you might not need the changes or the technology as much as what you were just saying in Nigeria, where you are seeing a trend in deaths are going up, and how this science can be so revolutionary there, but also for people here to really think beyond our borders. I think that's really, really important.
No question about that. I mean, think about this. The global burden of cardiovascular disease it's slowing, it has slowed its reduction. In other words, we are on a wrong trajectory. And in order to do this, we have to go from local to global. Cannot just be thinking about our borders We have to be thinking outside. And we're all one community of humans around the globe.
I love that.
And in order to do this, we have to be thinking about how do we bring this to the world. And artificial intelligence, technology, big data is going to help us get there.
So I'm really interested. You said earlier that you call it augmented intelligence, not artificial intelligence. Why?
Because I don't think there's anything artificial about it. Most of the data that comes is data from humans and data that is there that should be used for us to learn more about the future. And in fact, the machines are just learning from those data in an augmented way and facilitating what we can do in the future. And so and as we give it more information, it learns more. And so the capability of technology is only there to enable and help us to get better at what we do. They're not our drivers. They're just helping us to guide us better. We're still needed at the driver's seat.
So very good perspective.
And it is an augmented intelligence.
So we've talked a lot about the science, which has been fascinating, but off the stage, there's been a lot of magic happening there as well. Tell me about that.
Well, I'll tell you what it is. The American Heart Association is where all of us, I've been at this for a long time, 2.5 decades. My first science was presented here as a fellow in training. To me, this is the place where I believe we get to see our colleagues, network, and feel the beat, feel the beat of what it is and why is it that we're doing all that we are doing. Remember that our healthcare force is under a lot of stress. There's so much duress and stress, and morale is low. A meeting like this, it's like you re-energize your batteries. You're going home feeling good about what's to come. You make your network wider and now even broader than ever before. And I believe that coming to a meeting like this, seeing the kind of energy, the networking, the friendships that we have that have been over the years, and over the last 4 years, we've really been separated. True. And we feel very, very much like AHA is back, and thank God for that. And this has been an amazing, amazing meeting. Everyone is energized. We're all very, very excited.
That's so wonderful to hear. But I'm really interested. So when you leave here, what is the impact of what you've learned? How does that play out in your daily life?
Yeah, so first of all, what was great about the science that was presented here and some of the great sessions where we discussed real cases, real practice, and everything else, we begin to talk to each other and understand better how would I do this, but how would the other people are looking at the same problem in a different way. So we are learning from each other. That's crucial. That's part of coming to these meetings. But what's great about the science that was presented here is that it complements what we already know, and it gives us hope for the future. The future is very bright. The science is extremely strong. We saw some of the very early development work of genetic, editing, gene editing to help basically take care of high cholesterol. Think about that, or high blood pressure. That was yesterday. Every day we saw that SGL, the semaglutide, with the amazing data of reducing cardiovascular morbidity, mortality. All of that was here from a first-in-man study, the very first time of gene editing with 10 patients to 17,000 patients on day one. So the entire sort of ecosystem and the entire cycle of drug development, device development, science development, and how it will be implemented in our patients was all here in these 3 days, packed in. Absolutely, I'm going home and I've got so many great ideas. And the networking allows us to have new projects and widen our collaboration. All of that has been just fantastic.
And you said, and this is my last question for you, I know you have to go, but you said you've been coming here for a long time. How does AHA 23 compare to some of the other conferences that you've been to?
Well, when we didn't have technology, we needed to come here to be able to find each other. There was a time that this meeting had 35,000 plus people here. That's just no longer possible, and nor is it feasible. We all have day jobs, but AHA has changed in a way that it has worked to make sure that it fits within what we need to do. It's shorter, it's packed, it is very much looking at what the learner is looking for, and it's delivering it. So what we saw today was not 30,000 people here, but a large number of our colleagues from across the globe who made the effort and felt it was important to come to meet. And the science drives a lot of it, but so does the networking, so does the ability to kind of come up with new projects. There is nothing like us meeting in person. This is wonderful. Looking at you and talking to you is very different than sitting behind a computer. So the in-person meetings matter. We need it for our soul. We need it for our energy. And we need it for our patients, because we go back and say, oh, I learned so much. Let me tell you what's new. Let me tell you what we can do. And let me tell you what we can look forward to. Because we also learned at this meeting that our patients have to be an integral part of our science, because they're giving us the data from them, is giving us the science, but we need to also bring them into our clinical trials. And that was a fantastic learning experience that we saw here in some of the trials that were presented.
It has been such a pleasure to speak to you. Roxana, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's been great to be with you, and conversation with you feels absolutely normal for me. Thank you.
Wonderful.